Hello, I'm David.
Hi, I'm Julie.
Now we're going to do a review of Rogue Dungeon, which is for 1 to 3 players. It takes about 30 to 60 minutes to play. And it's for ages 12 and up. So we backed this on Kickstarter.
Oh.
Hopefully you've had a chance to check out our how to play and playthrough. So I'll give an overview, then we'll give our rating, and then we'll give the reasons for our rating.
Okay.
So this is a dungeon crawl, and whether you play solo or cooperatively, you are working together to defeat the boss monster. And you'll either go through 5 levels, and then when you get to the 5th level, you'll have a boss monster here you will draw from. So there's 5 decks of monsters that get progressively harder. And you can play with a random selection of these dungeon cards, and you'll use these pawns here to show where you move to, and when you go to a certain room, you draw a corresponding card. So I'll show you in the rulebook here, what do those different rooms mean. Where is it at?
All I know is red is monsters.
Yes, red is monster. So you'll see here that you have different types of rooms. So sometimes you're going to go through, if you just come in to focus here,
There you go.
the red and yellow rooms, which are always bad, monsters and traps, to get to the better rooms, the white rooms, the green, the blue, and the purple.
I just realized they're all different shapes too, which is nice for people who are colorblind.
For colorblind, that's a good point. So you'll see, for instance, that you might get gremlins.
Dear gremlin voice.
And you'll roll 10-sided dice, whether or not you pass or fail, and you'll do skill checks. And you have 3 skills here you'll be keeping track of. You have your strength, your agility and intellect, and then you have your vitality, which is also your hit points. So you keep track here. So this is your player board. You have different characters. And if I were to show some of the, well, let me go back to this. So you can play with 5 cards. There's 2 modes you can play. You have the dungeon mode and you have the tomb mode. And you'll see here there's cards here that go with the tomb version. So there's cards that we haven't played with yet.
No, we haven't done that.
And so they're marked. You'll switch out cards that will have icons on it. Here is your, when you defeat monsters, you can get different treasures here.
Good stuff.
And it will help you improve in stats. You get experience points when you defeat monsters that you can move up your stats. And your combat is based on your primary stats. So if you are, for instance, the ranger, your primary stat there, you see it's glowy, is agility. So you want to get items that do damage for agility. If you get items that are primary strength or primary intellect, you can't use them in combat. So what you'll do is you'll add your agility plus a die 10 to see if you overcome a monster's defense value. If you overcome it, then you damage them. Right now I only do 1 damage with 1 item. If you get more items, you can do more damage. So if I have 3 weapons and all my stats are at least a 3 or higher, I can do 3 damage every time I hit. This is our luck. You can use that to re-roll or to add +1 or -1 on a die, because sometimes when you're making a skill check, you want to roll low. You want to roll underneath your skill. So if I have a 7 agility and I need to make an agility check, I have to roll a 7 or less. Here's our vitality. That's how many hit points you start with, which matches your vitality. You have 5 vitality and 5 health. So if I show you a different character, here's a crusader. His primary stat is strength. So you want to find weapons that give you strength. So you also start out with certain cards. You start out with 7, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 7 cards. So you have some beginning items. So every character, which makes it fun for replay, has different things that you're going to start with. So here again, here's the ranger. See, it has right here, this is, a ranger wants to have a weapon like this because it could be used by the ranger or any other character that has agility as your primary stat. You got a torch. This can help you absorb damage. Then every character has 3 abilities that you can get back if you spend 5 experience. So right here I can charm certain monsters and they can join me as henchmen, and I need at least 3 agility, which I start with, so I can use this right away, and if I use it I can get it back if I spend 5 experience. And the experience that you get when you defeat a monster is equal to its level. So if I defeat a level 1 monster, I get 1 experience. If I get past hazards, it will give you experience. This one here would be next in order, but when I get up to 5 agility, then I can do this ability here, and you can get it back with 5 experience. This one here allows you to avoid certain abilities that boss monsters and higher level monsters have. You need at least 7 agility to use it, and if I use it all up, I can get it back if I spend 10 experience. So every character has different skills. You can also play with different difficulty settings. Notice I mentioned 1 10-sided die. Well, you can play easy mode and you roll 3 10-sided dice and take the best. So when you're attacking, you want to roll high. 10s always hit, but 1s always miss. But if I roll 3 dice, I could take the 9 or the 8 or the 4. If I want to roll high, I take the 9. If I'm doing a skill check and I want to roll low, I'll take the 4. You order to do the die 6 to evade things or to heal when you camp, to avoid wandering monsters or to heal. Here you have permanent objects, so there's the stories in here and the cards. So when you go to certain rooms, for instance, let's say I use a scroll or a spell, or I'm the ranger, I can charm the rats and they join me and they give me an agility 5 for ability checks, and I can discard my rats to block damage. So this deck right here has things that you will find throughout the game that you encounter with these cards. So for instance, well, this is the trading one here. You can trade things. You'll draw things out of the deck here, like 5 cards, and you can trade things to get better items, but then you got to give up things to get it. So that's the trading opportunity. Where's the one where, like, some of these you need objects to get past them, like the Sagas of Siren. If you don't have certain items, you'll lose things, but if you do have certain items, you can get past it and you'll get experience. So I was trying to find something that where you might say, you find this henchman, or you find this object, you search through this deck to get it. And that's pretty much it. You're going to go through different rooms. You can go as slow or as fast as you want. I mean, if I want to, I can encounter every room on that map. But you see here, if I want to get through this quickly, I can just go like this or go this way. And when you get here, you go to the next level. Or you play this mode, where you see the whole dungeon at once, and you use on the cards or on this map, you mark off which rooms you've been to. Some of them are persistent, which means they don't go away. So if you go back to that room, you encounter it again. Usually those are hazards.
Yeah.
So we've played both modes. We did this one cooperatively. We didn't do it on camera. We did this one, Julie played solo and I ran it like a dungeon master, just to make it go faster. But here, we actually prefer this way, and there's different maps. So every player board, there's 3 of them because you can play with 3 players, has a different layout. So it's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. I think this is the Tomb one. I'm not too sure.
Oh.
All right, so that's a quick overview. You're going to keep on playing. Oh, I'll show some of the monsters. Here's a scorpion, for instance, a level 1. Gives you 1 experience points. So 1 experience point. It has 1 health. So it's easy to defeat at low level. 7 attacks. You have to overcome a 7. So you add in your primary ability plus any other modifiers you might have with henchmen or something like that, or objects that you might have that might help you do that. So on a 10-sided die, if I have 4 agility, I have to roll at least a 4 or higher to hit it. Otherwise, if I equal that, it will do 2 damage to me and I will damage it as well. But if I get less than it, it will damage me and I will not damage it. And when you're playing with multiple players, you can decide who will attack that round. Now, as you get into higher monsters here, oh, here's a level 2. Second level. See how it has the 2 there. And so certain objects can be used to defeat it if you have it. That's just a little reminder there to check your cards. And in the rulebook here, it tells you what their weaknesses are. So I think hunk of cheese can be used with rats, for instance. Garlic can be used with the vampire. I don't remember exactly. But as you get into higher level monster, here's level 3. If you roll a 6, so let's say I have 6 agility, and I roll a 6. well, I do damage it, but now I got to check what does a 6 on my die roll do. So as monsters get tougher, they can do certain things. So you look on the right over here, stone flesh. Reduce damage taken by the monster's defense measure. So in other words, damage will be reduced by 11. So he won't damage it. So if I rolled a 6 on that attack, it doesn't take damage. But if I had rolled a 7 plus, and my agility was 6, 13, I damage it. And there's counters to keep track of how much you damage it by. So maybe I only do 2 damage because I have 2 objects. It still has 3 life left, and we do another round. Now, sometimes you'll find 2 monsters in the same room. You pick which monster you want to attack. And for every monster that is not attacked, gives the monster you're attacking +1 on its defense. So if I attack the gargoyle first, the troll will give it +1. If I defeat the gargoyle, now I can attack the troll and it'll be a 10. Or if I reversed it, I attack the troll first, the gargoyle would give the troll +1 on its defense value. And you can see here how tough things can get. Here is a level 4. As you improve your stats and get better objects, you can see the monsters get much tougher. This gives you 4 experience points. Every time you defeat a monster, you get a treasure card and the experience. And then on level 5, though, when you defeat a monster, you get 2 treasure cards, and you see how much more special things you can possibly get depending on what you roll, and how much more health it has. And then you get a boss monster here. So like the red dragon, see how much health it has? Mm-hmm. Does 5 damage if it hits you. And that's where you might have to give up your objects or henchmen to block that damage.
Right.
And there's things that you can give up to prevent its abilities.
Jeez, please.
And the comedy. And see, we don't like boss monsters that summon other things.
No. Hey, look, he looks like the thing from
Yeah,
Thor,
Lord of the
Ragnarok.
Rings.
No,
Lord of the, Ragnarok too, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that gives you an idea of all the different things you have. You play until you defeat the boss monster, until you're dead. And there is a way to score points if you're keeping track from adventure to adventure. It says right here that you add up how many henchmen you have and how many treasure cards you have. There's certain cards here that say treasure, and if you kept any of them and didn't trade them in to get better things, those are worth points at the end of the game, so you can keep track of that. All right, so let's give our rating. That's a good overview. There's actually a lot of content here.
Very good overview.
And you can watch the How to Play and Playthrough to see the whole thing.
Yes, that was fun.
All right, so here is our rating. Julie said 7, usually willing to play. I said 7.5. And you'll see why in a moment here. Over time, it can go up or down. I think it's going to need to include other decks for it to go up higher. So I'll go first.
Okay.
It's a smartly designed, satisfying, and engaging dungeon crawl. What I like about this compared to other dungeon crawls, it doesn't get tactical. If I want to play a tactical game where I got to count squares and count range and move into rooms and position miniatures, I'll play a game like that. What I like about this, you go into a spot, you draw a card that matches the room you go into, and you deal with the room and you go on to the next room. By the way, I forgot to mention, if you want to move up your stats, you got to use experience points. So it gets more costly as you go up right here. It can be hard to see. So to go up from 4 to 5, see, 5 to 6 costs 8 XP. So it has a level system. Some dungeon crawls do not do that well. That's why I like what they're doing here. But as you're going to see in my reasons for why it's a 7.5, there's just not as much game yet for me to rate it higher. They need to come out with other decks. So it's fun leveling, and the encounters are well done. And there's like a little story, like, okay, I better keep that rope, or I better keep that torch, because I know I might encounter the bats.
That's true.
Or things like that. So it's cooperative with modes of play and difficulty settings. Now this was smart as well. We played easy mode in both times, when we played with the cards and when we played this mode here.
It's the only way I want to play.
And, you know, it was fun to play a game where you didn't get frustrated. But if I'm on my own, I'll probably play with 2 dice first. I don't think it's you'd have to get really lucky to play with 1 die.
I wouldn't do it.
I don't think it's possible. I mean, it's possible to win, but you got to draw well and encounter the right kind of monsters that don't mess you up too quickly, or the right kind of hazards. It would be very hard to win with 1 die. But you know what? It gives you that option, which is nice. So average to quality components and art. The art, like on the rooms, there's some outstanding stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, look at that. That gelatinous cube. That's just well done.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Okay. That's quality.
Mm-hmm.
The cards, though, are just regular card stock. They're average. The dice are nice, but they're just regular dice. This is nice thickness here. Okay, and they're not warping.
No.
The character art, I would say, is average. It looks too computer graphic.
Mm.
And there is a video game that you can play that this is based on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So this looks too computer graphic-y. Whereas this doesn't look, this looks like it's hand-drawn. Or done digitally and doesn't look too fake.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? This looks more like you took a screenshot of a video game.
Gotcha.
Anything? The counters are average quality thickness. It's not too thin, not too thick. So decent replayability. You got different characters you can play. So if I show you all the different characters here, you got. I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
And each one has its own deck. And so if we've only tried 2 of the characters. Has a little bit of steampunk stuff that they put in it. Maps, like I said, you have these maps and these cards. You have the tomb mode and the dungeon mode, which is nice. And then there's even some optional rules that it includes back here. Fast variant, random rooms variant, which I hadn't even read, to tell you the truth. I just know that's there. Yeah, okay. That's smart. I remember now. You can just play 3 levels and face the boss, or actually, wait. You face the most difficult monster in that deck. So, for instance, in level 4, it would be the Pit of Despair. So you don't face a boss monster; you just face the most difficult monster in that level.
Interesting.
So that's cool that they included that. What's next? Needs more room card variety. So eventually you're going to get sick, and this is why I can't rate it higher than a 7.5 right now. Eventually you're going to be like, you're going to go through almost all these special cards. Mm-hmm. If you really want to build up your character well enough to defeat the monster, and you'll be like, I've seen that before, or I know that's coming up soon.
Right.
So my rating will probably go up if they can include more cards and still keep the special items or the things that you need to find to get through them. So it might be a situation where it says if you're going to play with these cards, make sure these cards are in the deck. Because it would be very hard if you can't find the torch or the rope to get certain things. So they may have to tell you, set up the decks and play with these, play with these room cards, but make sure these items are in the treasure deck.
Right, right.
So that's the thing that's holding me back from rating it higher. It needs more variety of that.
Makes sense.
Yes, I mean, you can play the tomb mode, but then again, there's not many cards here either.
True.
The reasonable playing time and setup, especially if you play with that fast mode. Frustrating graphic design impacts readability. So you're going to see then how to play and play through, and even one of the designers says, yeah, we should have brightened this up. This is very hard to see on camera. When you look at certain numbers here, the font that they used, it can be difficult to see in low light that that's a 12 because it's very thin, especially the 7. When you see if I can get a 7 to come up here, it can be very difficult to see 7s for what they are because it's so thin. So that's frustrating. And then the rulebook font can be tiny on the examples. This is not bad here. It is under it should be larger. But if you're trying to see things in the examples, you got to use your phone to zoom in.
That's not good.
No, it's not good. So they need to increase the size of the rule book and the size of the text.
Yeah.
Especially since a lot of older gamers are going to be playing this. I don't see like many 18 to 25-year-olds going, let's play Rogue Dungeon. No, they're going to be playing a video game. Okay? That's not to say there isn't gamers that won't play this in that age group. It's most going to be 30 and up older gamers that need larger text. So the background colors, oh yeah, so another thing too that's frustrating is when you get to the specialty, it can be hard to see what some of these icons are at times. Right here, because it's an icon with a confusing background. You really needed to move that background. So it can be hard to pick out what it is. See?
I can tell it's a torch.
Yeah. But again, I'm zoomed in. But from a distance, you'd be like, what is that again?
All I could tell would be the torch.
Right. So they needed to improve this, the font, the text size, and the rulebook, and some of the icons here. Otherwise, everything else pops. Well, like right here, the health. It can be difficult to see the health on right there. The 4 is so tiny on the heart.
I mean, I can see it only because you have it so close to the camera.
And if you look right here, can you see that?
No, without my glasses.
You're zooming in. You're going in like that to see it. So things that they can improve in another edition. Okay, so the rulebook requires experience investment. The rules are all here, but you can see how many times I had to highlight things. It's spread out. It makes sense if you invest the time in it in an experienced rulebook reader. The thing that's most disappointing is a comprehensive reference. It was easier for me to make my own little reference thing here. And again, I'm invested. I like dungeon crawls. If you're not invested in these games, you may like, screw it, sit it on the shelf, I'm not going to play it.
Yeah.
And what's really disappointing, you could have included this on a card, what the different types of rooms there are, and what these icons mean right here. So you need a better reference card that has this, and better explanation here, where I didn't have to make a cheat sheet. So you had some errata, and here's the thing, they were on top of it, they got it out right away, but what if you bought the game and you're not a member of BGG? Their website doesn't include it. You would have to be on BGG to know that this is here. So this is some errata on the cards, and there's some clarifications on some of the rooms because of the way they work. Not a lot. It's not overwhelming, because if there was a lot of errata, I wouldn't even have played it. There's some games that we're sitting on right now that there's too much errata, I just don't feel like dealing with it.
Right.
Okay. So the way it's written right now, the way this game is done, it's for experienced dungeon crawl people. We'll get through it. If you haven't played many dungeon crawls, they're going to need to watch the video. Otherwise, it's going to sit on their shelf. And that's where I said the lacks comprehensive reference sheet. So that's why, for me, 7.5. Add more decks, and if you want to get this game into more hands of more players and make this basically a hit, because this is getting reprinted, you need to improve the rulebook, fix the errata, and fix the at least fix the rulebook, and have that reference card, reference sheet, comprehensive reference sheet. It would be harder for you to improve the graphic design unless you do a 3rd edition. All right, so see what Julie has to say.
Not as much as David. I never do. I thought this was a fun dungeon crawl with lots of different encounters and replayability. I liked playing this when it was just me, but I really liked it when it was cooperative. That's my favorite way to do it.
Yeah, when we played with this, one of these maps.
David made it very easy to learn and play. He's just so patient, and he's great with all this. I thought the playing time wasn't too bad for just us 2 players when we were doing cooperative. It went pretty quick. And as he had already mentioned, the average components and the cards. But, you know, I guess I don't have a lot to say. I'm not as intense in it as he is. But I like it.
But you liked playing it, and compared to other, remember we played almost over 80 Hero Quest. What would you rather play? Would you rather play Hero Quest or this?
I think I'd rather play this because it's faster. And
it depends on what mode. You say it's faster. We played this over 2 sessions.
Oh, that's true. We did.
Okay, so that's why you gave that an average, not a plus, not a minus. Hero Quest can take less than 30 minutes.
That's true. The one thing I do I like about both games is I get to roll dice.
Right. No, again, it's two different ways to play. You're not dealing with miniatures here, but sometimes that's fun.
I like the miniatures.
Right.
I like seeing my ladies go and kick some butt, and I like the bad guy miniatures that come in, the little gremlins and the.
Right. So let me ask you this. So, is it depending on what mood you're in?
Yes.
Yeah, I
definitely.
agree. This is solid. This is worth owning if you're a Dungeon Crawl fan.
It's fun.
What's preventing them? They need to do a 3rd edition and fix those issues. Include packs. Because there's some cool story things going on here. Include packs where, like, now we're in the jungle, or we're going against a particular set of creatures, and it's more thematic. Because the system works well.
Yeah.
And you can charge $20-$30 per pack of cards, and I would enjoy playing that. And you can even include special maps.
Yeah.
The system works well for that.
Yeah, like I said, I liked both. I liked playing both ways, but my favorite was playing cooperative.
Right. Well, it's always cooperative. You mean solo versus cooperative?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I meant.
So, all right. Well, anyways, check it out if you're a Dungeon Crawl fan. If you're not, if you rather play more tactical miniature stuff where you're moving your people around,
Then you don't want
counting
this.
squares and counting movement, you're not going to want to play this.
No.
But that's why I like it, because I don't always want to play a game like that.
No.
Come out with more content, and I may up my rating on this. And for sure, if you want to increase your sales and accessibility, improve your graphic design in the rulebook. So that's all we have to say.
Like I said, he always says more than I do.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks so much for watching, you guys. We hope this encouraged you to maybe check it out, and we'll see you in the next video.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.